Hey YouTube, Rumours post 1975. First of all, a massive thank you to Lazy Game Reviews. I'll put a link in the doohickey down below. I'm pretty sure you know who he is because he's massive in the community. He's a proper into his retro computers, and I recommend you go and check him out for sure. Now, he sent me an email out of the blue this morning just saying that he'd seen the cover of my intro and he put one together himself. So he sent me an MP3, said, use it, don't use it, it's up to you. Just thought, you might get a kick out of it. So that was the sound behind my video intro that you heard on this video. So definitely go and check him out. I cannot see that you would not like his content. Now, I want to talk Rumours, but I want to put my twist on it. This is just my opinion, so don't go reading too much into it. But I was thinking about this the other day. And I was thinking, Rumours, or, clever market research. Now, the rumour mill has been going absolutely batshit crazy of late, I did a video a while back on the, the rumour that 720 wasn't going to be able to play used games. And I said at the time, fanboy or Microsoft, because at the end of the day, while it got a massive negative response, this rumour, they can just deny that they ever did it, and any kind of attention, good attention, bad attention, it's all attention. It will all draw people in, it will get that console's name out there. So I was thinking about this because the rumours are just getting crazy at the moment, aren't they? Not so much for the Wii U, but I guess that's kind of because obviously that is the one we'll see first. But the Sony and the Microsoft rumours, no used games, or if you do have a used game and you sell it, then if someone else plays it, you lose your achievements. With Sony, you won't necessarily be able to get onto the current the next that next system's sort of internet service unless you're a member of the previous system's internet service. Digital downloads only. I mean, they're just coming thick and fast, and quite a lot of sort of negative responses to them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I myself have been guilty of it. Like I said, if they get rid of the ability to play used games, then they're cocks. But here's what I was thinking. Right, obviously Sega and Sony have, in mind all units, that they've made, so they have a basic set of specs for their consoles. That being said, nothing is set in stone, is it? Nothing is set in stone. So from where they are now, it could be drastically different from when they sort of actually come out, because we don't really 100% know when that is. So let's get one thing straight. They're making these consoles for them. They're not making them for us, the consumer, the gamer. I mean, they want them to be successful, but ultimately, whether they make money on the console itself or not, it's it's an exercise in business, isn't it? With games and stuff like that, they want to make as much money out of it as they possibly can. So I guess in their interest, it is, it would be sort of viable for them to say, right, you can't play used games, and they probably do want, digital download games only. Now, for every one of us who gets massively pissed off like digital downloads only, there are people who the current gen is their first experience of, systems. So they might not have such a big, problem against it as most of us do, particularly those of us who retro game, because, part of retro gaming is to have a physical copy of something, from way back in the day. But for every person who's vehemently against, like digital only downloads or these rumours, there'll always be someone who, I don't really care. So they want to basically test the water, don't they? They want to see what they can absolutely get away with, that's in their interest and not so much ours. What's the best way to do this? Well, obviously research, isn't it? But research is expensive. Now, obviously they do have R&D teams, I do understand that. But I was thinking, at least if I was them, what would I do? I'd take advantage of the resources that are already out there, stuff like forums, gaming forums, particularly the gaming community on YouTube, it's already there, and like the gaming community is a massive concentrated resource already, in existence for you. So take advantage of it. Bang out as many crazy rumours as you can, because if it's something that you're toying with the idea, such as no drive, no used games, you want to know the sort of reaction to it, don't you? Because if it's sort of 50-50, well then leave it on the drawing board. If it's a massive sort of the community or consumers or gamers are just like, screw you man, how dare you do that to us, who do you think you are? Throw it away. But it doesn't hurt to put it out there, does it? Because what's the great thing about a rumour? If you piss someone off royally, all you got to do, as Sony or Microsoft, just put a statement out there going, we understand that there's a lot of negative response to this rumour that is flying around, in the media in the moment and on internet forums saying that you cannot do this with our new console. And we understand it's upset a lot of people, but we cannot stress highly enough that this was not put out there by us. This is nothing to do with us. This is not our stance on the subject. This was probably a fanboy. Great thing about Rumours is, you know, you've got perfect, plausible deniability. So if I was them, I'd just bang them out left, right and centre. Now, I'm not saying all these rumours are by them, but I think there's a reasonable chance that one or two of them are, because at the end of the day, if you can just walk away and say nothing to do with me, what's the harm of putting it out there anyway? You know, just test the water. You know, there's no doubt that you could use rumours, you know, like this to basically help shape your console in such a way that you've got away with what you absolutely can get away with, you know, in sort of for yourself, basically, for, you know, an exercise in making money, not necessarily for the consumer. But you've done it in such a way that, you know, when this final console arrives and people are like, oh, you know, it's going to be a balance, isn't it? It's going to be a balance between what they want and what we want. But like I said, by flying these rumours out there, they can absolutely find, you know, what is 100% possible for them to pull over on us, basically. So I'm thinking that some of these rumours probably are true, and if they're not, you know, Sony, Microsoft, you're wasting a golden opportunity. You know, I'm not saying I agree with where gaming might be going in the future. I'm just saying from the manufacturer's point of view, they're wasting a golden opportunity if this isn't them. But it might be them. I don't know. What do you think? I'll see you later.